Well, good morning, Jason, once again with iCrime Fighter. I know there's some folks that are continuing to jump on the call as we speak. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get rolling here, and then maybe I'll just leave the information up on the screen with our contact info and just kind of the dialogue of our call. But basically, I just want to start off by thanking everybody for jumping on the call today. I know everybody's kind of busy with different things that are going on in your community, and we just want to thank you for jumping on. And really, we want to provide this web meeting as a way to inform you of different technologies that are available. I know there's some departments that are on this call that have used our technology. Obviously, we'll be talking about some of the folks that are going to help us with the chat, to some of the folks that are looking to maybe look at a solution like this to hopefully help with their workflow. Just kind of a little a way to kind of set the stage here is I've been selling technologies to law enforcement community for about 20 years. And one of the things that I think a lot of people sometimes resist technology for a number of things. One is change. And so we want to make sure that change is always a hard thing to take, but we also want to provide a change that's going to make a better workflow and just a better process in place that you guys are currently maybe not able to do now. And then just the fear of technology. I think it comes in two flavors. Fear of, one, I don't want to use it, to the fear is it going to work well for the way we do things in our department. And with that being said, I think one of the things that I wanted to do with this webinar is, you hear from the companies that provide the technology, which is great. We're here to, answer your questions, train your folks, and do all that. But I think it's more important to hear from somebody that's on the side of actually using the solution or technologies or just processes in place on a day-to-day basis. And so that's really what we want to do today, is hopefully allow you guys to hear from that side of the scenario, a department actually using it in place, and being able to, as we get through this, be able to ask questions and so forth. So right now, I've actually have all your lines muted. We'll open it up for Q&A in a little bit. You guys can either ask the questions live by turning your mics on, or if you want to, as we're talking and going through different topics, if you guys want to just chat those through, you can either send those directly to Chad, who is part of my team, or you can send those to everybody and we can see them and we can go through those questions and answers as we do that. So as I'm going through that, I do want to introduce one of the folks that we've wanted to bring on this call today. They bring a lot of value to their department. They've seen processes in place that have created roadblocks not to be able to, to share certain documentation that makes it troublesome or just tedious process. And she's been able to hone in on different technologies and made it a lot easier for departments that struggle with this sort of case sharing and adapt to those environments. And I think right now, with everything happening in the world as we speak, I think it's a time to look at technologies, not be afraid of it, but just understand it from a side of things of these are the people that are using it, and let's not try to reinvent the wheel. Let's just talk to some of the folks that maybe have went through those trenches a little bit and they perfected it, and now here they are to speak. She brings she's a high level at the La Crosse County Sheriff's Office. She's a supervisor for many folks that on a day-to-day basis has to work with a lot of different requests. So I think, and I'm hoping this talk will bring that value to you guys, that hopefully there was technology that you want to incorporate, and this will be able to do that and answer some of those questions, or just maybe another avenue for you guys to look at. So with that being said, I would like to introduce Terry Sears from La Crosse County Sheriff's Office here today to go through some of these topics and hopefully bring a different spin on it than from maybe the technology company, but actually a user. So Terry, are you out there? And perfect. So Terry, I'm glad you were able to come on the call, and obviously I think this is going to bring a different spin, as I talked about, But what I wanted to do is kind of go through kind of a question and answers of just different processes in place and maybe some pain points that you guys experience. And maybe what I'd like to do is just, let's start there, just some of the pain points that the department kind of currently deals with, and just some of the struggles that you guys see, and then we can kind of get into how we overcame those.
Okay. So first of all, I'm from a sheriff's department, so it's a little bit different than some of you on here who are from police departments. So we have a little bit different struggles, but mainly all the same. One of our biggest issues are we want our deputies on the road. And currently, the way we operate, we can't do that because they need to come back to the sheriff's department to give us media files to download, their dictations, to you name it. And we don't want them there. We want them to be out in the community, being seen and doing their job. So when we signed up with iCrime Fighter, 2018 is when we hopped on. We found that iCrime Fighter was able to give us the ability to keep our guys out on the road with some of their unique technology that they have. Do you want me to go? Okay.
Yep. No, sorry. Sometimes when you mute yourself, you forget to unmute yourself. So what are some of the things that, like, in, you know, when they were collecting stuff now, or they're collecting stuff before, how were they collecting sort of data, like the photos, the audio, videos, and how has maybe some of the technology helped with that process?
Okay, so some of you probably, when you got this invite, probably Googled iCrime Fighter a little bit if you didn't know about it. And you noticed that probably evidence collection is one of the main keys of the software. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. Our department doesn't use it for evidence collection except for our investigators, not because we don't want to, but because we don't have the devices yet in the hands of our officers. So for the evidence collection, you can get smartphone, any tablet, download their app, and you are able to do quite a few amazing things. So you can replace your digital cameras, your voice recorders, flash drives, any kind of media that you have to bring to the scene to be able to download and save stuff. All of that can be done through the iCrime Fighter app. So when you play with the app, you'll find out that iCrime Fighter has a couple hidden gems in it, and I'll tell you about a few of those. So when you use your phone through the app and you want to, let's say, do an interview, iCrime Fighter has built right in there the Miranda rights, so you also don't have to bring your little Miranda card around with you because the app has it all there for you. Anytime that you collect evidence like pictures, video, you can upload notes to yourself, so you no longer have to have, you know, notebook and pencil and paper with you to write down all your notes for your cases. This one tool replaces all of that. We no longer have to buy all of these different equipment and outfit our officers because they need one thing, and that's a smartphone. Another little hidden gem that iCrime Fighter thought about when they were creating this app is, if you don't have a agency issued smartphone, like our guys don't have right now, if you download the app on your personal phone, any evidence you collect through the app isn't on your phone. So therefore, your phone isn't subject to being searched or anything like that for, you know, evidence purposes, because everything is uploaded from your phone to the cloud and never sits on your phone. So they thought a lot about how law enforcement operates and what we would be worried about when they were building the software.
That's perfect. You know, one of the things that I'll just kind of throw out as Terry's talking is, she mentioned that, you know, as we're just talking to this one component of the solution, is start thinking about not so much that this is going to add to your budget line item. This is actually going to replace items on your budget line item. So right now is a tough time for everybody, with maybe departments having to reallocate funds to different projects because of what's going on. Don't be thinking that I'm going to have to go try to budget this into something that's not there. We can replace different things that are there with what we're talking about. So I just want to throw that out. So You heard me talk about the fear of using new technology and controlling staff to use this. So let's talk about how staff and data management of the system, how's that working for you when it comes to this?
Okay, so this is the key part that sold our department on getting the software. We weren't so worried about the evidence collection, though we love it and we're going to go toward it. But we like the data management. So we all have to worry about space, uploading video, uploading pictures, interviews. My guys on the road, they dictate the report, so they have to get the data to my ladies so they can transcribe it. All of this stuff is done seamlessly through iCrime Fighter for us now. Our current RMS is hosted by our own IT department. So they weren't really excited for us to start downloading all this video and stuff like that into our RMS. So instead, we decided that iCrime Fighter is going to take over that function for us. So it saves all of our media. It saves everything that we need in order to get data to other people. So for instance, if we need to share case files, everything is uploaded into iCrime Fighter and we have everything in one area. We don't have to worry about going into like, let me go into my squad camera stuff and find that there. Let me go into my jail video recording software and find the data there. Everything is in one spot and I don't have to struggle when I get an open records request asking for certain data.
Yeah, the biggest thing too is case share is such a big thing, and we're going to actually go to another level of case share here in a second. But it's just starting to think outside the box of being able to get this stuff from point A to point B. But let's talk about the DA's office. Let's talk about law enforcement. How did you guys do it before?
All right. So I'm going to assume that we were in the same boat as most everybody else that were on this call. If we needed to get data to our DA's office, we physically had to walk it there or try to email it to them. Some people have like some kind of shared folder system if we're in the same building. But literally we had to hand the data off, and we knew that there was gotta be a better way than that. In La Crosse County, we are super lucky because every police department -1 is on the system, as well as our DA's office. It is so simple for us to share any data with our DA's office now since we're all on the system. Literally, if the DA's office asks for some case information, I go to the case in iCrime Fighter and I push one button, and it's the case share button. And now they can see everything on my dashboard. They can see it on their dashboard. We have everything together. And I don't know if you guys have an issue that you struggle with your DA's office of what they see in DA Protect versus what we see in our RMS. We had that issue where they would have like 10 files, we'd have 12 files, we'd have to go through together to figure out what files they were missing. Sometimes they would rename files. It was just a mess. Now everything is uploaded into the case, into iCrime Fighter. We all see the same 12 files, we see the same names. We can talk about all the data together and not to be confused. And if you accidentally share it to the DA's office and you weren't ready, simple, go in the case, one button, unshare, upload the data that you need, share it again. Takes 2 seconds to do all of that stuff. And what's even more amazing for us in La Crosse County, and hopefully you guys can build this too in your counties, is I can case share any of my data with any department that happens to be on iCrime Fighter. So let's say I'm working with like Home and Police Department and we're working on a case together. I can literally case share my case to them. They can upload stuff to my case and we have everything together. We can see the exact same things, get our stuff together so we can get it to the DA's office and everybody's on board. So that's pretty unique. We also have the ability here, because I have a couple of my drug task force counties. We've got 5 counties in our drug task force. Some of them are also utilizing this. So not only am I sharing data in my own county, I can cross county lines and share data with them. And so our drug task force, we have a collaborative effort where we can see everything together, and it's just so much easier than us calling somebody else, can you get this data to me? They can literally just do it at their own computer and we can see it instantaneously. It is so nice. Saves so much time.
Yeah, the number one thing that I think we hear, I mean, there's a lot of things that this process or just broken things that are hopefully going to help here, and hopefully you guys are seeing value. But case share is probably the hardest thing that people struggle with, because everybody is kind of back in the old days. You know, it's the CD burner or media drive, because these files are not getting any smaller. They're all video at this point. And so that's correct. The other thing that's nice, I think, to throw out is the fact that there's communication right now. I'm sure if there's new files, and when you do add stuff to a shared case, there's communication that the system will at least notify people that there's new items. I'm not sure if you guys had to do a report or some sort of process before email and let them know there's 5 new photos, but that might make things streamline a little bit better, to one less step to worry about. So open records, I think we all struggle with them. I mean, we're talking about people on the system right now with case sharing. So what do you do when somebody walks in the department and says, I want this video, or the State Patrol wants a video, and they're not on the system? How do you deal with the open records on those?
So open records is the real reason why we jumped on the system so quickly. We needed a solution to be able to answer attorneys. Well, let's face it, when you have a jail, you get sued. So you have to provide large amounts of data, video, pictures, anything, to the attorneys. And we needed a solution for that, rather than downloading data on hard drives and mailing, UPSing it out or whatever. So iCrime Fighter allows us to send data to people who are not on the system by simply going into a case, hitting a checkbox next to the item you want to send to somebody. You don't have to share the whole case. And you can send it through a button that says send by email. So basically, the end user is receiving an email with a download link. And when they click the download link, the data that you intended to share with them is downloaded onto their computer. And we're talking a matter of seconds. So as long as you upload the data correctly and upload everything they need, they can download and see everything as soon as they get the email. So with the 1 or 2 minutes, they got everything on the screen that you can see. They can't see your actual dashboard. They can only see what you send them. And that's awesome. Has saved us so much time.
Yeah, you know, the thing to think about too is when we talk about connecting to a prosecuting attorney's office, the hope is to get them out of any sort of CD burning business as well. And so that's how they can push it forward to their defense attorneys. And so, yeah, no, it's a very easy process, obviously, to grab. Oh.
Yeah, and let me speak to that just a little bit too. So before iCrime Fighter, the Sheriff's Department here, we jumped on right away, and we asked our DA's office to jump on so they could solve their issue of burning multiple CDs of all this data that's being thrown at them from all these different police departments. It is nice now, since they have to provide all the discovery requests to all the attorneys that are asking, we can help them in that effort. We can upload the data quickly for them. Then they're responsible for just sending the link out to the attorneys. And so we are in essence saving them time. I mean, it's saving us time. So it's kind of a win-win all around, especially if you can get your DA's office on board with you. I just think that if you can work collaboratively with them, then they can help you out more too if they have more time to help. So that has saved us a lot of time.
Yeah, and I'll just throw out, so I mean, I know we have folks from kind of all over a lot in Wisconsin, but I know we have some folks from other states. One of the things that we have had really good feedback is when we talk to the prosecuting attorneys, the DAs and so forth, and educated them on it, they're actually very on board with it. It just sometimes they're the last to know, and so that sometimes creates the little tension there. So no, that's worth noting. So we have sometimes 2 roadblocks that come into law enforcement. One is being able to work with their DA's office, understandable. The other sometimes is IT, and being able to have this be a priority. The concerns is, when will this happen? So I want to ask you, Terry, like, I mean, obviously La Crosse is a big county. To get something on the books from an IT standpoint would take a while. Why don't we just talk about what is needed from an IT standpoint?
Sure. So our IT department was super excited when we brought this solution to them, because prior to iCrime Fighter, our IT department was actually responsible with helping try to get all data from every jurisdiction in our county to the DA's office. And that was buying more server space, sending out links to people, trying to get them to upload data. And it frankly probably, it was all, it was probably a smart idea by them, but they were quickly running out of space, quickly running out of manpower to keep all of this stuff up. So when we came across iCrime Fighter, we quickly realized that you don't need an IT background to be able to implement this in your department. You don't need to have servers to hold all this data. iCrime Fighter, they have that all for you. They have, they're hosted by Amazon AWS, and I know a lot of you have seen other big companies also use Amazon AWS for all of their storage needs. And basically it's unlimited storage for us. So, which is really good, because there are times where we couldn't physically give certain items to our DA's office for them to store because there was no place for them to store it, like jail video. If an incident happened in the jail and they need hours and hours of video, that kind of thing was a roadblock for us, and we didn't know how to handle it. Now we don't have to worry about it because we just uploaded it right to the cloud in iCrime Fighter. And because that the storage is hosted on Amazon AWS, there's certain safety and security requirements they have to meet. My IT guy here at La Crosse County, he sits on the state CGIS board. So he looked at the software and he quizzed the ICF guys up and down, and he is very happy and he feels that it meets all Wisconsin CGIS requirements. Very safe and secure system. So we don't even have to worry about any of that kind of stuff because iCrime Fighter has to worry about the safety and security, make sure they maintain all of that. So that really, really takes a lot off of a county's shoulders.
No, that's great. And I'll throw out too is we actually use both government clouds that are really widely used in the United States, Amazon and Microsoft. Okay. So, but yep, worth noting that Mike, your IT folks were very, they did their due diligence, and that's what's necessary. So it's good for us to have that stamp of approval. The other thing too is there's no installation, right? So on an IT standpoint, is they don't actually have to install any software. Yeah, if you guys use an app, fine, but there's nothing they have to install. And the feedback I've gotten from a lot of IT, not only in your county, but it's been well accepted. That's one more system I don't have to. It's a system I don't have to support. So, so that's great. And like I said, I'll just note too, if you guys have questions along as we're talking, just write those down, because sometimes when we talk and you guys might have questions and so forth, just write those down or send those chats over to Chad or anybody. And then I'm going to let Terry kind of speak of these two ideas. There's a couple ideas that came up actually through La Crosse that I think will make workflow easier. And I think I'm just going to let you kind of talk, Terry, on different workflows that you've seen fit that we could actually shine in. And maybe I'll let you kind of take the ball and run with it.
Okay. So I think first off, when we got iCrime Fighter, we asked for some stuff that wasn't in the system, and the next day it showed up, I think, right? So anyway, the programmers here, they are receptive to feedback and how we do our processes. So we had an idea and we needed iCrime Fighter to solve an issue for us, and that is working in a post-COVID environment. I'm sure you guys probably are trying to think of, you know, what should my officers do? Should they be going meeting people? Should they be, you know, going to places downloading media to, you know, flash drives, using their iCrime Fighter app to go out to somebody's house? So we were wondering if there was a way that iCrime Fighter could solve this issue for us, and I believe it's in the works, where they are going to help us with a feature where we can send a link to someone who can upload media directly to our case files. They can't see anything, but they can upload the media for us, so I don't have to deploy my officers, their time, the gas to drive off to, you know, to a company, let's say like Quick Trip, let's say we need some video from them. They don't have to physically go there and get the media. We can send them a link that says, hey, upload the media here for us. And then the officer is really out of the loop, and it's now my office ladies who have to, you know, make sure that everything's in and everything works. And there's no time that has to be spent gathering data anymore that the end user already has for us and it is able to upload. So that's something that we're excited for. and will help our process flows a lot, I believe.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is, and I do have some, when we get all done with this and you guys have some questions and so forth, there was a couple things I was going to share, and this will be one of the things I'm just going to kind of, you know, kind of show maybe some in action how some of these things can work, but it's not only in the works, but it will be deployed. So, yeah.
Okay.
And then before you start, I was just going to ask, you know, sometimes the systems and current processes are so old that we only assume that that's the only way business can get done until we unravel the onion and we realize that maybe there is an easier process. And so there is one last thing I kind of want you to bring up is fact where you guys kind of dug into and you got, you know, pretty good approval to kind of be able to deliver stuff electronically. So I'll let you kind of talk about.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So a really cool feature that iCrimeFighter has once you get into the system is anything that is done in iCrimeFighter, whether it's opening a case, whether it is uploading data, let's say Officer A uploads pictures, Officer B decides to upload some video, we share it to the DA's office, then the DA's office sends it as discovery out to an attorney. Everything that is done is tracked in iCrimeFighter under a case history tab, which is amazing because then we can prove that we sent stuff. Not only does it show that we sent it, but it also shows that the person actually downloaded it to their computer. Of course, iCrimeFighter can't tell us if they understand what they're downloading, but it shows them that they actually downloaded the data, which is huge for us. We are at the La Crosse County Sheriff's Office trying to play with some ideas of how to streamline other processes. One of our ideas, very much in the infancy, so we got to get some expert opinions yet on it, but we would like to start serving some of our papers, so paper service, which is something only sheriff's departments do, but we would like to be able to start serving papers digitally to like 10% of the people in our community that would, you know, actually want to be served. You know, we have those people that call us and say, hey, we don't want you coming to our work, or we don't want you coming to my home. I don't want a squad car out in front. Those types of people, we are working on being able to digitally serve them papers so that way we don't have to physically go out. We don't have to spend the time tracking them down. We can literally receive the papers from the clerk of courts and pass it right on to the end user, and it would be seamless and it would be tracked. So that way we have everything that we need to be able to provide to the courts that yes, this person did receive this data. So that's something that we have in the works, and I'm hoping that we will be able to pull it off here in the next month. And if that is truly something that we can do, I think that would save a lot of you guys a lot of time as well.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I mean, sometimes the roadblocks are internally, right? And we just have to break down the walls because we've done it that way 100 years, and why can't we do it differently? So we, you know, I will just throw this out. We offer a solution, but we have to look to the folks inside to come up with thinking outside the box, and we can't do that. We can hopefully provide the talk points, and it's always nice to get the feedback not only from La Crosse but other departments to make that easier for everybody else that may be looking for a better technology. I don't know, Tara, did you have anything else you wanted to add just to what we were talking about, or just, you know, as we kind of get through this new phase of how we might have to deal with stuff that would be of value to you?
You know what? I think that we should hear first if anybody has any questions,
Okay.
because maybe they'd like to have answers first rather than me just rambling.
Yeah, so why don't we, Chad, I don't know if you have questions that are maybe piped in. Otherwise, we could turn the mics on, and if you guys want to ask the questions live, that's fine too, or you can raise your hand. So maybe I'll just take a moment and let Chad control that. Let's see.
Yeah, if you want, there's a reaction screen in the bottom right-hand side. If you click that, I believe I'll be able to see that you raised your hand. I think that might be the easiest way to mute and unmute people. If you're able to unmute yourself, that's fine as well. I did get a couple while we're waiting here. One of the questions is, does it work with only iPhone, or does it work with Android and iPhone?
Yep, so we have a platform that works on both. They almost look identical the way they operate. But yep, it works on both platforms.
Next question someone asked here is, how many departments are currently using, give or take?
Yeah, give or take, probably in the Midwest, we probably have 150 different agencies that use it. So, yep.
And then they ask what if you do need to burn a CD? Are you still able to do that?
Yep. So one of the things, maybe when we get through this Q&A, I can show you very easily, but yep, you guys can download the items by selecting it, and it can be business as usual if that is the process that still needs to be in place until maybe things change internally. Yep. Because sometimes too, what happens is, you know, that's just the way it is. You know, people want to download and burn to a disk and provide that to a person. If that needs to be the way, you can absolutely. Oops, I think Chad might have muted us.
Everybody should be able to unmute themselves now. So if anyone has a question though, you should be able to go and unmute yourself and ask that question.
Yeah, so maybe what we'll do is just give it a second. And if nobody has any questions right now, that's fine. Hopefully you were able to grab my information or Terry's information when I post it. We can send an email on. But I was thinking maybe just do a quick little web demo, but I'll give it a second here and see if anybody has any additional questions.
Why don't you, when you're going to go load that web demo, Jason, why don't you put that shared screen of the information so everybody has that again, of the email addresses and stuff at the beginning?
Yeah, so there we go. Yep. So there's my information and Terry's information. If you guys have any questions or whatever. The hope here is obviously, you know, if you guys seen any ounce of value, we'd love to do a presentation with your department. And what I would recommend is it's not, you know, only the folks that can sign the check, but obviously the folks that would use it, the records folks, and be able to go through that presentation with them. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I don't know, Chad, can I share? I don't think I can share two things at once. Oh, maybe I can. Stand by. All right. I just wanted to take a brief second here and just kind of show you guys. Terry hit on a couple things that I think were kind of the highlights of how the system works. I'm not going to go through the whole presentation. We can set up a time. One is I want to be respectful of your guys' time, and two is we want to go through it when maybe you guys can ask questions individually. But one of the things we talked a lot about is the ability to case share. And she talked about two different ways that they currently do it. One is you share a case over to a DA's office, and we have a, you know, if I'm in the case file, what you're looking at now, I wanted to collaborate with somebody, I can simply click on this button and you can see how easy it is. I can say, you know what, I want to send it to the prosecuting attorneys. And I want to send it, oh, apparently I was logged in too long. Sorry, guys. Here you go. We can easily just flip the switches by sharing that data to those organizations very easily. Now, the nice thing is they'll instantly get an email to notify them that this has happened. Plus, any new data that comes in later down the road, they'll get a notification that says that information's added. So, wanted to hit on that. The other thing that Terry talked about is the one feature that actually hopefully make life easier is to be able to retrieve stuff from outside parties, you know, the Quick Trips, the Walmarts. So we can basically invite them to add to this case by sending them a secured email that's going to give them a secure code to add the photos, the video, you name it, whatever is necessary and what's ever important that we need to receive. And then the last thing I just want to show you guys on is just, I think it's super important to know that we are keeping track of a lot of this data. There won't be a ton of stuff in here, but you can see that we're keeping track of the views, we're keeping track of where it went, as Terry spoke. If it's downloaded by who, we can keep track of all that as well. So, like I said, I wasn't really looking at doing a huge web demo here, but more or less highlight the items that we really talked about that was important, and we can definitely set up a time with your department to go through. So,
It looks like Terry had something she might wanted to add.
oh, sorry, Terry. Go ahead.
I'm gonna add quick. So can you flip back to your screen with
I
in a
sure
case?
can. Yep, I sure can if you, yep.
There's a really cool feature in here. So go back one screen for me.
Oh, absolutely.
So when we first hopped onto iCrime Fighter, whatever was uploaded into iCrime Fighter, all my deputies could see, okay? So we had to play this kind of dance with our investigators. You know, don't upload your stuff to iCrime Fighter yet because we don't want the information to get leaked. So then we would have to decide, oh, at what point do we upload it? Well, I guess at the point that the DA's office needs it. So iCrime Fighter, we explained to them that we needed a solution. They came back with a solution. So if you have a case that you are uploading specifically probably for your investigators, you can now lock or hide the case, and Jason has his cursor over it. So he is restricting, he can click on this lock and restrict the case for only a couple people to see. So that, with that feature, now we don't have to worry about trying to upload data later and maybe forgetting to upload it, because we can just upload it as soon as, like, let's say you went on a drug buy. As soon as the buy is done, we upload the wire, the video, everything up to the case, restrict it, and now nobody can see it except for those investigators who are dealing with the case. So that is also very helpful, you know, internally to keep data safe and secure.
Yeah, no, perfect. Is there anything else that you think is super important to show or talk about briefly before we let everybody?
Well, yeah, I mean, they also built in for us to different levels of users. So for instance, for my deputies, if they upload something to a case and they accidentally upload it to the wrong case, which, you know, it happens, they built in a new feature where instead of me going into the case, downloading everything to my computer, creating a new case, uploading it back up, they created a feature for us where we can literally just click on the pictures that were uploaded incorrectly, and there's one button that you click called copy to, and it copies to the correct case. So you get to pick the case that you want it to copy to. Seamless, easy to fix. And there are certain features like deleting of files that I don't give my deputies the rights to have. I don't want them to accidentally click on a file they meant to share it somewhere and they ended up deleting it. So you can restrict that as well, and which is very helpful. So I have a few higher level people that can do a lot of the management, but you can restrict some of the management so things don't accidentally get deleted or misplaced or put somewhere else.
No, that's awesome. That's good. I mean, yeah, we've done a lot of stuff to make it a little easier to hopefully manage. The idea is we give you the tools and you can drive your own ship and set it up. Perfect. I mean, yeah, I think we went over a lot of information, hopefully a lot of good value here. You know what I'm going to do is before we, was there anything else you wanted me to show, Terry? I think what I'll do is I'll put on the screen here, just that information again. Perfect. But yeah, once again, I hope we showed some, you heard some value here. We're happy to set up a individual meeting with your department. We'll probably reach out to you anyways and just provide kind of the notes from today's meeting. We are recording this. We'll see how good that came out. If it did, we'll provide that. But I just want to thank everybody for jumping on. You know, especially during right now, what's going on in your communities. And so we appreciate everybody's time. Terry, I appreciate your time coming on here. It was fun, and we look forward to everybody talking to everybody soon.